My boss sat on my lap at the beach and warned, "Don't move, my ex is watching." Waves lapped gently against the transparent platforms that formed the colony's outer beach, each platform anchored by massive underwater pylons that hummed faintly with the energy of the ocean currents. For most of the day, the city had been alive with the sounds of human ingenuity, engineers testing new machinery, scientists observing alien marine life, and children laughing as they floated safely in shallow pools connected to the main platforms. Among them, Aaron Kessler, a young engineer from Earth, stood clutching a notebook, eyes scanning the vast ocean. This was not just a holiday beach, it was a test site. The colony's first large-scale wave-energy converter had just been installed, a machine designed to harvest energy from the alien tides and provide power to the colony. Aaron had spent months preparing for this moment, calculating currents, testing simulations, and making sure every component would survive the harsh, salty environment. "You're late," a voice said sharply. Aaron turned to see Lyra Vance, the colony's operations manager and Aaron's boss. Lyra had the kind of presence that could quiet a room without raising her voice. Her uniform clung neatly to her athletic frame, reflecting the sun's glow, and her eyes scanned the horizon as if she could see every wave and drone simultaneously. "Traffic in the docking bay," Aaron muttered, closing the notebook. "The shuttle took longer than I expected." Lyra didn't smile, but the corners of her mouth twitched slightly. "Traffic or nerves. Either way, you're here now, and that's what counts. Good, let's move." They walked along the beach toward the converter. The waves lapped at their ankles, cool and strange, tinged with the faint shimmer of bioluminescent algae that glowed even in the late afternoon. Aaron bent slightly, touching the water. "It's beautiful," he said. "I didn't expect the ocean to glow like this." "Everything on Elysium 7 is beautiful if you know how to survive it," Lyra said, her tone dry but not unkind. "And you need to survive it if you want this test to succeed." Aaron nodded. The air was thick with tension, not from the weather, but from the knowledge that they were being watched. Not just by the colony's AI monitors or the curious tourists in the observation towers, but by outsiders. Rival corporate factions had eyes everywhere, and Elysium 7's energy resources were valuable. Every wave, every movement could be analyzed. As they approached the converter, Lyra's gaze shifted. She leaned closer to Aaron, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Don't move." Aaron froze mid-step, looking at her with wide eyes. "What?" Lyra gestured toward the horizon, where the sunlight reflected off a distant, hovering drone. Its shape was sleek and metallic, almost blending with the sun's glare. "Our rivals," she said. "They're watching. Don't give them any reason to know what we're testing or how it works." Aaron swallowed hard. It was one thing to think about corporate spies abstractly. It was another to see them hovering over the water, observing every gesture. You mean right now?" "Yes, right now." Lyra's eyes were sharp, scanning the waves. Then, without warning, she stepped closer, almost brushing against Aaron, and lowered herself onto the edge of the platform where he stood. "Stay still," she said, a quiet warning in her voice. "Our position matters. You move, they notice." Aaron's heart pounded. He had worked in close quarters with her before, but this was different. The proximity, the tension, the knowledge that they were being watched, it made his skin prickle. He nodded, careful not to make any sudden movements, and glanced at the converter machinery before him. It was an impressive sight. Towers of polished metal rose above the water, connected by flexible arms that stretched like mechanical tendrils into the ocean. Each arm had sensors at its tip, designed to measure current speed, wave height, and water density. The base of the machine hummed with energy, a soft vibration that Aaron could feel through his boots. "They'll be analyzing every detail," Lyra whispered, her hand brushing briefly against a control panel as she pointed without looking. "Every time the converter moves, every adjustment we make, they'll try to copy it. That's why we have to be unpredictable. Aaron nodded again, forcing himself to focus. He had been trained for this, studied the behavior of corporate espionage and AI surveillance, but now it felt real in a way that simulations never captured. The ocean spread endlessly before them, the waves hiding secrets as easily as they revealed them. And somewhere out there, unseen, human eyes, or maybe machine eyes, watched their every move. Minutes passed, stretching in tension. Aaron adjusted his stance slightly, careful not to disturb Lyra or alert the watchers. She glanced at him, a rare flicker of amusement in her eyes. "You're thinking too much," she said softly. "Sometimes the best camouflage isn't hiding. It's showing what they expect and then doing something they don't." Aaron's mind raced. He imagined patterns of movement, waves of information, how their bodies could be used as part of the strategy. Lyra had trained him to think like this, to anticipate human and machine behavior alike. He realized, almost with awe, how humans could adapt in ways machines could not, improvising, reacting, understanding subtle cues that no AI could fully predict. A sudden ripple across the water caught Aaron's eye. A pod of native Elysium 7 aquatic creatures surfaced briefly, bioluminescent bodies glowing like lanterns. The watchers would probably ignore them, but Aaron saw an opportunity. "We could use them," he whispered, nodding toward the creatures. "Their movement could mask small adjustments to the converter." Lyra's eyes sparkled. "Exactly. Humans observe, humans adapt, humans improvise. That's why we survive where machines fail." She leaned back slightly, maintaining balance on the swaying platform. "You're beginning to see it, aren't you?" "Yes," Aaron breathed, feeling a surge of confidence. "We can do this. We just need to." His words stopped as another drone appeared, hovering closer this time. Its sensors scanned the water like a metallic eye, calculating, analyzing, recording. Lyra's hand briefly brushed his shoulder, not for comfort but as a steadying gesture. "Patience," she said. "Every move has to count. They think they understand us. Let's give them a show they can't predict." Aaron's fingers itched to adjust the machinery to test the converter, but he stayed perfectly still. He felt the hum of the bass beneath his boots, the pulse of energy beneath the waves, and for the first time truly understood what it meant to outsmart with patience. Humans were clever in ways machines were not, and today they would prove it. As the sun dipped lower, casting a fiery trail across the water, Aaron realized something. This wasn't just a test of machinery. It was a test of human ingenuity, courage, and adaptability. Every movement, every breath, every decision mattered. And with Lyra watching, guiding, and sharing the risk, he knew they could face whatever eyes were watching from afar and come out victorious. The waves whispered secrets as they crashed against the platform, and Aaron Kessler, heart pounding, waited. Humanity had arrived on Elysium 7 not just to survive, but to show that even in the shadow of observation, even under pressure, humans were capable of brilliance that no machine could anticipate. And so, still as the waves, still as the eyes of rivals, Aaron waited. Every second a strategy, every breath a calculation, every heartbeat a reminder. Humans endure, adapt, and triumph where others fail. The waves stretched endlessly before them, reflecting the colors of the setting sun. Aaron could feel the gentle sway of the platform beneath his boots, the hum of the wave energy converter vibrating through his legs. Every now and then, the faint silhouette of the rival drone appeared against the sunlight, a constant reminder that someone, something, was watching. Lyra remained calm, perched on the platform beside him. Her presence was steady, like an anchor amidst the water's restless motion. "They're scanning everything," she whispered. "The machines are fast but not clever. Humans can think, improvise, outsmart them." Aaron nodded, though tension pulled at his stomach. He felt both nervous and exhilarated. This was more than a test of technology, it was a test of human adaptability. Every subtle movement, every small decision counted. If they acted too predictably, the rivals could analyze their methods and duplicate them. But if they could improvise cleverly, they could remain invisible, unseen, unpredictable. The converter itself was impressive. Its arms stretched into the water, tips flicking like metal fingers, sensing the ocean's energy. The base hummed with power, subtly shifting to align with the strongest currents. Aaron had designed parts of it, but now, seeing it in the alien ocean, he realized that the ocean itself was alive with variables that no simulation could fully predict. A sudden flicker of light drew his attention. The pod of bioluminescent creatures surfaced again, tiny lantern-like bodies glowing in the twilight. Lyra had noticed them too. "They'll help," she said, pointing subtly with her eyes. "We can use them to mask small movements. Humans adapt to their environment. We use everything around us as a tool." Aaron's mind worked quickly. He recalled how the creatures moved, erratic but patterned in ways that repeated naturally. If he synchronized minor adjustments of the converter with their movement, the drone's sensors would record nothing unusual. The machines would see patterns that made sense, but they would miss the true changes. Lyra leaned closer. "Your calculations need to be precise. Time it with the pulse of the waves. Humans have intuition, trust it." For a moment, Aaron froze, the weight of the challenge pressing on him. Then slowly, he adjusted a small arm of the converter, a subtle movement. Simultaneously, a creature flicked past, bioluminescent tail lighting the water like a streak of neon. The drone hovered, whirring softly, scanning, analyzing. And then, after a few seconds, it moved slightly away, as if satisfied that nothing significant had changed. Aaron let out a quiet breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. "You see," Lyra said, her tone both proud and teasing. "Humans outthink machines all the time. Computers can calculate, predict, repeat, but they don't improvise, they don't adapt, not like us." Aaron smiled, feeling a surge of confidence. "It's like dancing with the ocean," he said softly, "following its rhythm, not against it." Lyra laughed quietly, the sound like wind over the waves. "Exactly. Now let's make sure we stay ahead. They'll be back and we need more than luck." The sun dipped lower, leaving a trail of gold that shimmered on the water. Aaron and Lyra moved carefully along the platform, adjusting sensors and recalibrating small instruments. Every action was deliberate, measured, but creative. They used shadows, reflections, and even the creatures' movements to disguise their work. It was exhausting but exhilarating. Hours passed, the sky shifting from gold to deep purple, then dark blue sprinkled with alien stars. The distant drones had not returned yet, but Aaron knew it was only a matter of time. "How long can they watch without noticing us?" he whispered. Lyra didn't answer immediately. Instead, she crouched beside him, her eyes scanning the waves. "They notice everything. But they don't understand everything, and that's our advantage. We see, we adapt, we improvise. That's what makes humans unpredictable." The platform creaked as a wave pushed against its supports. Aaron steadied himself, realizing how much trust he needed in both the machine and in his instincts. Every sense was heightened. The hum of the converter, the sway of the platform, the light flickering on the water, the faint hum of distant drones. He felt alive in a way that nothing else could match. Then a new challenge appeared, a sudden, sharp pulse in the water. Aaron glanced at the converter's sensors. The current had shifted unexpectedly, stronger than predicted. The arms of the machine, designed to adjust automatically, would have reacted slowly. Lyra's eyes sharpened. "Now," she said softly, almost urgently, "move with the pulse, not against it. Adapt." Aaron's hands flew over the controls. He adjusted the arms, letting the natural movement of the water dictate the converter's position. The metal tendrils flexed like living limbs, flowing with the current. The machines watching would see only the natural rhythm of the ocean, unaware that human intuition had saved the day. Minutes passed before the pulse subsided. Aaron exhaled, leaning against the platform. Lyra gave him a small, approving nod. "Good," she said. "Humans survive because we adapt faster than machines can calculate. Remember that." The stars above the ocean sparkled faintly, their light reflecting off the bioluminescent creatures below. For a moment, Aaron forgot about the drones, the rival corporations, even the pressure of proving himself. He marveled at the beauty and danger of the world around him. This planet, these oceans, these machines, they were all part of a test not just for technology but for human skill. Hours later, a faint vibration passed through the platform. Aaron stiffened. Lyra's hand brushed his shoulder. "They're coming back," she said. "Get ready." He looked toward the horizon, and sure enough, the sleek metallic drones had returned, moving with calculated precision. This time there were more of them, flying in a careful pattern, scanning the converter and the platform. Aaron felt a surge of adrenaline. Lyra crouched, her hand resting lightly on the edge of the platform near his lap. "Remember," she whispered, "they expect us to react predictably. We won't. Humans adapt." Aaron nodded. His fingers hovered over the controls, heart racing. He realized how humans had always survived against impossible odds: improvisation, courage, creativity, and intuition. Machines could be brilliant, but humans could be clever in ways machines could never predict. A sudden wave struck the platform, rocking it sharply. Aaron instinctively adjusted his balance, then realized he could use this movement. "Lyra, the current, we can use it to mask our adjustments," she smiled faintly. "That's the spirit. Humans turn obstacles into advantages. Let's show them." Working together, they made subtle adjustments to the converter in perfect sync with the waves. The drones scanned, whirred, and recorded, but saw nothing unusual. Aaron felt a thrill of triumph. This was more than a test of machinery. This was a demonstration of human ingenuity in action. Hours turned into night. The sky darkened completely, alien stars glittering above. The drones eventually retreated, though Aaron knew they would return. Lyra stood, brushing off her uniform. "Not bad for your first day," she said with a small grin. "You're beginning to understand what makes humans unstoppable." Aaron laughed quietly, still exhilarated. "It's incredible. I never imagined humans could outsmart machines like this." Lyra's gaze softened just for a moment. "That's why we survive, that's why we thrive. On Elysium 7, on Earth, anywhere. Humans adapt, we improvise, we endure. That's our greatest strength." Aaron looked out at the ocean, feeling a profound sense of pride. Humanity had arrived on a new world, not just to survive, but to excel. And tonight, under the alien stars, he understood what that truly meant. No machine, no rival, no obstacle could match the creativity, courage, and adaptability of humans. The waves whispered secrets in the darkness, and Aaron, standing beside Lyra, felt ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. This was just the beginning of a story where humans would prove, again and again, that they were clever, resilient, and unstoppable. The night on Elysium 7 was quiet but alive. The stars reflected on the water, mingling with the soft glow of bioluminescent creatures beneath the surface. The waves lapped gently against the floating platform, carrying a rhythm that Aaron had begun to feel in his bones. He stood beside Lyra, scanning the horizon. Though the drones had retreated after hours of observation, he knew they were far from gone. They would return, sharper and more persistent. "We can't just wait for them to make mistakes," Lyra said, breaking the silence. "We need to stay ahead, anticipate them. Trick them before they even try to act." Aaron nodded. His mind raced with ideas. The converter's mechanical arms, the natural motion of the waves, the movements of the native creatures, every element could be a tool. "We could use the ocean currents to hide our adjustments," he said. "Even make it look like the converter isn't changing at all while we fine-tune it." Lyra's eyes lit up. "Exactly. Humans can improvise in ways machines can't predict. Let's see how far we can push it." They began their work. Aaron moved slowly, carefully adjusting the converter's arms while following the rhythm of the waves. At the same time, Lyra orchestrated the bioluminescent creatures, gently guiding them with subtle pulses from a handheld device. The creatures glowed brighter and swam in patterns that masked the adjustments. Any observer, even a sophisticated drone, would see only natural ocean behavior. Hours passed. The night deepened, and Aaron's confidence grew. He was learning to anticipate the ocean, the converter, and even the watching drones. He realized that humans had a unique advantage: the ability to think creatively, to improvise in the moment, and to adapt to variables no machine could fully calculate. Then, without warning, the drones returned. There were more of them this time, sleek metallic shapes moving in formation above the water. Their sensors scanned the platform, the converter, and even the surrounding waves. "Stay calm," Lyra whispered. "They think they know what we're doing. Let's prove them wrong." Aaron took a deep breath. His fingers moved over the controls, tiny adjustments synchronized with the waves. The bioluminescent creatures darted around the converter's arms, creating patterns that distracted and confused the drone's sensors. The rival's AI struggled to interpret the data. It had been programmed to detect precise mechanical movement, but humans didn't move like machines. They flowed with the environment, unpredictable and creative. Aaron felt a thrill of pride. Humanity had a way of turning even a disadvantage into an advantage. Hours seemed to stretch into an eternity. The drones circled, hovered, and scanned relentlessly. But the platform, the converter, and the creatures moved in perfect harmony, guided by Aaron and Lyra's intuition. The drone's readings fluctuated wildly, unable to discern true activity from natural patterns. Suddenly, one drone emitted a sharp light, signaling a detection. Aaron froze, Lyra's eyes narrowed. "Don't panic," she said. "They expect fear. Show them confidence instead." Aaron forced his hands to move steadily, continuing the adjustments. The light blinked again, then dimmed. Their improvisation had worked. The drone's AI could not confirm any suspicious activity. Lyra smiled faintly. "Humans survive by thinking ahead, not by reacting blindly. Remember that." Aaron nodded, feeling the truth of her words. In that moment, he understood why humans had always endured against odds that seemed impossible. Machines could calculate probabilities, predict outcomes, and execute commands, but they could not invent solutions on the spot, adapt to unforeseen changes, or read subtle cues in the environment. That was the human advantage. The drones eventually moved back, retreating toward the horizon, but Aaron knew it was only temporary. They would return more determined. "We need a more permanent solution," Lyra said, "something that makes it impossible for them to predict our actions." Aaron thought quickly. He looked at the converter, at the glowing creatures, and at the endless waves. "We could create decoys," he suggested. "Small, movable holograms of the converter that react like the real thing. They'll never know which is real." Lyra's eyes sparkled. "Brilliant. Humans not only adapt, they innovate. Let's do it." They worked through the night, carefully calibrating the holograms to mimic the converter's movement. The bioluminescent creatures added natural camouflage, swimming among the projections to enhance the illusion. By dawn, they had created a perfect diversion. Anyone watching from above would see multiple converters moving independently, none of them real. Aaron felt a surge of pride. "We've turned their own technology against them," he said softly. "They can watch all they want, but they'll never figure out what's real." Lyra nodded, her expression serious but pleased. "This is the essence of humanity: observation, creativity, adaptation. No machine, no rival, no obstacle can match it when we work together." As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, the ocean shimmered with gold and violet. The drones hovered far in the distance, confused and uncertain. Aaron realized that, for the first time, they were in control of the situation. "Let's see what they do next," Lyra said, her tone calm but confident. Humans have a way of outlasting machines, and right now we're proving it. Aaron watched as the colony began to wake. The other platforms hummed with life, engineers preparing experiments, children laughing in safe pools, and automated systems performing routine maintenance. Yet, despite all the technology around him, Aaron felt something unique, the pulse of human ingenuity. Machines were tools, drones were observers, but it was humans who could think, improvise, and thrive. Throughout the morning, Aaron and Lyra continued refining their strategy. They observed the patterns of the drones from afar, anticipating their moves and making subtle adjustments to the converter and holographic decoys. Every wave, every current, every movement of the bioluminescent creatures was part of a carefully choreographed dance. By midday, the rival drones had begun to retreat, clearly frustrated. They had failed to gather useful data, unable to distinguish reality from the clever illusions created by Aaron, Lyra, and the natural environment. Aaron allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. "We did it," he said quietly. Lyra smiled, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Humans don't just survive. We innovate, adapt, and thrive. Today we proved that." But even in victory, Aaron knew the challenge was far from over. The rival corporations would return stronger and more determined. They would try new strategies, deploy more advanced drones, and attempt to outthink the humans. Yet Aaron felt no fear. Humanity had a way of turning challenges into opportunities, of using creativity and courage to overcome obstacles that seemed insurmountable. As long as humans stayed clever, resourceful, and united, no machine or rival could predict their next move. Hours later, as the sun began to set again, Aaron stood on the platform, watching the ocean shimmer in twilight. Lyra joined him, and together they observed the bioluminescent creatures dancing in the water. The converter hummed steadily, a symbol of human ingenuity and adaptability. "Tomorrow," Lyra said softly, "we'll take it a step further. They won't know what's coming and we'll stay one step ahead. That's what makes humans unstoppable." Aaron nodded. He understood completely. Humanity had arrived on Elysium 7 not just to survive, but to demonstrate brilliance in the face of adversity. They had faced observation, threat, and uncertainty, and had triumphed. As night fell over the alien ocean, the stars reflecting off the waves, Aaron felt a profound sense of purpose. Humans were clever, adaptable, and resilient. They could turn the ocean, the machines, and even the rival drones into tools for success. And this was only the beginning. The sun rose slowly over Elysium 7, painting the floating platforms in shades of gold and orange. The ocean shimmered beneath the light, waves curling and rolling as if alive. Aaron stood on the platform, scanning the horizon. The rival drones had retreated overnight, but he knew it was only temporary. Their corporate observers would return, more determined than before. Lyra joined him, her expression calm but focused. "They're planning something bigger this time," she said. "I can feel it." "They won't rely on drones alone, they'll escalate." Aaron's stomach tightened. "What do you mean?" "They'll send a vessel," she explained. "Something autonomous, fast, and fully equipped to study the converter. They'll want to collect real data, not just watch from afar." Aaron swallowed. He had imagined drones, surveillance, and subtle observation, but an actual robotic vessel meant real danger, not just to the converter, but to their strategy and to the colony itself. "Then we need to be ready," he said, determination settling in his chest. "We can't let them succeed," Lyra nodded. "And we won't. Humans have a way of turning challenges into opportunities. Let's show them what we're capable of." They began preparations immediately. Aaron adjusted the converter's arms, ensuring it could respond quickly to sudden changes in the ocean current. Lyra monitored the surrounding water, sending subtle signals to the bioluminescent creatures, guiding them into formations that could mask movement. Together, they created a living camouflage, blending the converter with the rhythm of the ocean. Hours passed, tension building with every passing moment. The waves rose and fell, and the gentle sway of the platform beneath them became almost hypnotic. Aaron felt a deep connection to the environment, every flicker of light from the creatures, every vibration from the converter, every shift in the current was a signal to observe, adapt, and act. Then, a sharp vibration passed through the water. Aaron stiffened. On the horizon, a dark, sleek shape cut through the waves, moving faster than any natural current. It was the vessel, a fully autonomous robotic reconnaissance unit sent by their rivals. Its metallic surface glinted in the sunlight, sensors scanning, recording, analyzing. "They're serious this time," Lyra whispered. "It's not just observation anymore. They want results." Aaron's hands flew over the controls. The converter hummed, adjusting to the ocean's currents, but Lyra had something else in mind. "We'll make it think it's detecting real activity," she said, her eyes sharp. "Holograms, currents, creatures, all of it. We'll create a puzzle it can't solve." Together, they implemented the plan. Holographic decoys shimmered above the converter, mimicking every movement precisely. The bioluminescent creatures swam through the projections, their glowing bodies adding natural irregularity that no AI could perfectly interpret. Every adjustment of the real converter was synchronized with subtle shifts in the waves, creating the illusion that the ocean itself was alive with activity. The vessel approached, its sensors sweeping across the water. It emitted a low hum, scanning and analyzing. Aaron felt his pulse quicken. "It's coming closer," he whispered. Lyra's hand brushed his shoulder, not a comforting touch but a signal to stay focused. "Remember, humans adapt. Think, improvise, and stay ahead." Aaron nodded. He took a deep breath, letting the rhythm of the waves guide him. He began adjusting the converter's arms subtly, tiny movements that no machine could detect without context. The holograms flickered and shifted in perfect synchronization, while the creature's movement added random, natural patterns. The vessel's sensors processed the data, struggling to distinguish reality from illusion. Its AI algorithms attempted to predict the converter's actions, but every prediction failed. Humans were unpredictable in ways no machine could calculate. Minutes stretched into tension-filled hours. The vessel scanned, recalibrated, and scanned again, but every time it thought it had clarity, the human's improvisation created new uncertainty. Aaron felt a thrill of triumph. Humanity had a unique strength, the ability to invent solutions on the spot and adapt to changing conditions. Lyra's voice cut softly through the tension. "Now, let's push it further. Humans don't just defend, we take the initiative." Aaron glanced at her. "What do you mean?" "We'll turn it around," she said, her eyes gleaming. "Humans use obstacles as opportunities. That vessel is a threat, but it's also a tool." Aaron understood immediately. The vessel was scanning for data, but if they could manipulate it, they could make it gather false information, wasting their rivals' resources and giving humanity a strategic advantage. Lyra gave a sharp nod. "Ready?" Aaron grinned. "Ready." They began the maneuver. Using subtle adjustments of the converter, synchronized with waves and holograms, they created a path that led the vessel into a false perception of the environment. The vessel followed the decoys, analyzing holographic converters and glowing creatures, recording false data with every passing second. Aaron could feel the rhythm of the ocean guiding him, guiding their plan. Each adjustment was deliberate, calculated, but creatively unpredictable. The vessel responded, trying to correct its course, only to be misled again. Its advanced sensors could not keep up with the improvisation of two humans who had mastered their environment. Lyra's eyes sparkled. "It's working," she whispered. "Humans outthink machines every time." The vessel, confused and misled, moved deeper into a narrow channel between platforms, unaware that it was heading into a trap. Aaron adjusted the converter's arms, creating a small but strong current that nudged the vessel into a shallow bay. The holograms flickered and dispersed in perfect timing, and the bioluminescent creatures shifted to create shadows that further obscured the vessel's sensors. The vessel, detecting inconsistent readings, attempted to retreat, but the narrow channel limited its movement. Its navigation algorithms misinterpreted the currents, and it became effectively trapped in the bay, unable to escape without risking damage. Aaron's chest swelled with pride. They had done it. Using human ingenuity, creativity, and intuition, they had turned a formidable threat into a harmless obstacle. Lyra clapped him on the shoulder. "That's what I'm talking about. Humans adapt, humans improvise, and humans win. Never forget it." The vessel finally powered down its sensors, trapped and unable to transmit useful data. The rivals had spent time and resources trying to study the converter, only to be outsmarted by two humans who understood their environment better than any machine could. Aaron laughed quietly, a mixture of relief and exhilaration. "We turned their own technology against them," he said. Lyra smiled, watching the bioluminescent creatures dance in the water. "That's what humans do. We survive, yes, but we also thrive. We turn every challenge into an opportunity, every threat into a triumph." The waves shimmered in the early evening light, and the converter continued to hum steadily, collecting energy from the ocean's pulse. Aaron and Lyra stood side by side, observing the alien world they were helping to harness, realizing how much of it depended not just on technology, but on human skill, courage, and adaptability. Hours later, the colony's other engineers returned to the platform, unaware of the trap laid for the robotic vessel. Aaron and Lyra briefed them quietly, ensuring the converter remained operational and the vessel remained harmless. "This is just the beginning," Lyra said as they watched the sunset over Elysium 7. "The rivals will keep trying, but they will never match the ingenuity, courage, and adaptability of humans. Not ever." Aaron nodded. He understood fully now. Humanity had arrived on this alien ocean world, not just to survive, but to demonstrate brilliance under pressure. Machines could calculate, drones could observe, and vessels could analyze. But humans could improvise, create, and turn the environment itself into an ally. As night fell, the stars glittering above the waves, Aaron felt a profound sense of purpose. Every challenge, every threat, every obstacle was an opportunity for humans to show their resilience and ingenuity. Elysium 7 was vast, mysterious, and filled with potential. And humanity was ready, not just to survive, but to outthink, outmaneuver, and thrive in a world that seemed designed to test them. Aaron looked at Lyra. "Tomorrow we push even further," he said. Lyra's eyes gleamed in the starlight. "Yes. And the universe will see what humans are truly capable of." Together, they watched the ocean, knowing that this was only the beginning of a story where humans would continually prove that creativity, courage, and intelligence could outmatch even the most advanced machines. And in that quiet night, under alien stars, the humans of Elysium 7 had already won. Not just a battle, but a testament to the unstoppable ingenuity of their species. The first rays of dawn glimmered over Elysium 7, reflecting off the endless waves like a field of scattered diamonds. The floating platforms of the colony shone in soft golden light, and the air was crisp with the scent of salt water. Aaron Kessler stood at the edge of the main platform, gazing out over the ocean. The previous days had tested him in ways he had never imagined: drones, rival corporations, and now a trapped robotic reconnaissance vessel. But he felt more alive than ever. Lyra Vance approached quietly, her footsteps soft on the platform. "The rivals are awake," she said, her voice calm but sharp. "They'll send scouts again, maybe larger teams, but today we finish this." Aaron nodded. "We've trained the converter, set the decoys, and outsmarted their drones. But what about the vessel? It's still trapped." Lyra smiled faintly. "It's more than just trapped, it's data they can't use. It's proof that humans aren't just reactive, we're proactive. And today we'll make sure they know it." Together they began preparations. Aaron adjusted the converter's arms, testing each motion against the natural rhythm of the ocean. Lyra guided the bioluminescent creatures into patterns that would provide maximum camouflage. The holographic decoys flickered across the water, synchronized with the real converter, creating layers of illusion that any observing AI would find impossible to unravel. Hours passed. The colony hummed with activity. Engineers monitored other platforms, children played safely in shallow pools, and researchers collected samples from the ocean. But at the edge of the colony, the trapped vessel remained, its sensors scanning the decoys and real converter in confusion. Every reading it recorded was false. Every calculation it made led to errors. "They'll realize soon that their data is useless," Aaron whispered. "And they'll know humans are behind it." Lyra nodded. "Exactly. Humans don't just survive, they innovate, adapt, and triumph. They underestimate us at their peril." The horizon flickered with movement. Drones appeared, more numerous than before, some carrying small reconnaissance pods to relay data back to their corporate overseers. Aaron felt a surge of adrenaline. This was the ultimate test. If they failed, the rivals would learn from their actions. If they succeeded, they would demonstrate the full extent of human ingenuity and adaptability. Lyra crouched beside him. "Remember, humans are unpredictable. Every decision, every adjustment, every choice matters." "Make it count." Aaron nodded. His hands moved over the controls, making subtle adjustments to the converter. The arms shifted with the waves, synchronized perfectly with the motion of the bioluminescent creatures. The holographic decoys shimmered across the surface, creating multiple illusions. Any observer, drone or AI, would see dozens of converters, but only one was real. The rival drones scanned, whirred, and recalibrated repeatedly. The trapped vessel attempted to move again, only to be nudged by subtle currents created by the converter and guided waves. Its sensors blinked in confusion, unable to reconcile the false data with reality. Aaron's heart raced. He realized something profound. Humans thrived where machines failed. No algorithm, no calculation, no programmed AI could match the ability to observe, adapt, and improvise in the moment. Lyra's voice cut softly through the tension. "Now, the final step." Aaron looked at her. "Final step. We show them," she said, her eyes gleaming. "Humans don't just hide, we assert our control. We turn the threat into an opportunity. Follow my lead." Together, they enacted the plan. The holographic decoys shifted in rapid sequences, synchronized with the natural waves. The converter's arms moved in complex, yet fluid, motions that mimicked the ocean currents perfectly. The bioluminescent creatures added chaotic but beautiful patterns of light, making it impossible for any machine to discern real activity. The rival drones faltered. The trapped vessel, trying to escape, collided slightly with the shallow bay floor, unable to maneuver. Its data streams transmitted false information, rendering its mission entirely useless. Aaron felt a thrill of victory. "We've done it," he whispered. Lyra nodded, her expression serious but satisfied. "This is human ingenuity in action. Observation, adaptation, improvisation. Machines and rivals underestimate humans and they fail every time." The drones began to retreat, their operators no doubt confused and frustrated. The vessel powered down its sensors, trapped and helpless. Aaron and Lyra had turned the rival threat into a demonstration of human brilliance. As the sun climbed higher, casting warm light over the colony, the other engineers began to gather around. They had watched the decoys, the clever use of creatures, and the subtle adjustments of the converter. Whispers of admiration spread quickly. "Did they really do all of this by hand?" one engineer asked. Lyra smiled. "Not by hand alone. With observation, creativity, and trust in human intuition. That's what makes us unstoppable." Aaron felt a wave of pride. He realized that humanity's greatest strength was not in machines, technology, or raw power. It was in their creativity, adaptability, and courage. The converter was an achievement, but it was the humans behind it who truly made it remarkable. By midday, the trapped vessel was fully neutralized. The drones had retreated beyond the horizon, their attempts to gather meaningful data thwarted. The rivals would return, surely, but they had learned a crucial lesson. Humans were clever, unpredictable, and capable of outthinking even the most advanced machines. The colony erupted in quiet celebration. Engineers checked the converter, ensuring all systems were fully operational. Researchers documented the patterns of bioluminescent creatures, noting how humans had used natural behavior to enhance camouflage. Even the children, safely observing from a distance, were amazed by the shimmering lights and synchronized movements across the water. Aaron stood beside Lyra, watching the scene with satisfaction. "We really did it," he said. "We turned a threat into proof of human ingenuity." Lyra nodded. "Yes, and it's more than proof. It's a message to the universe, to anyone who doubts humans. We survive, we adapt, we innovate, and we thrive." Hours later, the colony leaders arrived for a formal review. They observed the converter, the clever decoys, and the trapped vessel. Their expressions shifted from curiosity to amazement. "This is remarkable," one of the leaders said. "The rival factions will never predict this strategy. You've turned a challenge into a victory." Lyra placed a hand on Aaron's shoulder. "Humans don't just respond to threats, we create solutions no machine could anticipate. Today, you've shown that better than anyone." Aaron felt a surge of pride. The recognition was more than personal. It was a testament to human resilience and creativity. They had faced observation, technological superiority, and hostile intent, and emerged triumphant. As the sun set over the alien ocean, casting long shadows across the platforms, Aaron and Lyra stood side by side. The waves shimmered, the converter hummed steadily, and the bioluminescent creatures danced in patterns that seemed almost celebratory. "Tomorrow," Lyra said softly, "we continue. The rivals will try again, but humanity will always be one step ahead. Observation, adaptation, innovation, our strength is endless." Aaron nodded, watching the ocean stretch endlessly before them. "We'll be ready. And we'll keep proving that humans can triumph no matter the challenge." Lyra smiled. "Exactly. Humans endure, humans create, humans win." And in that quiet moment, with alien stars beginning to twinkle in the night sky, Elysium 7 bore witness not just to human survival, but to the brilliance, courage, and ingenuity of a species capable of outthinking any machine, outmaneuvering any rival, and thriving in any environment. The floating colony stood as a testament to human adaptability. The converter pulsed gently, powered by the ocean and human cleverness alike. The trapped vessel remained as proof of triumph. And Aaron Kessler, standing beside Lyra, understood that the true victory was never in the machine. It was in the human mind and spirit that had conquered it. As night fell completely, stars reflected across the waves like countless points of light. The humans of Elysium 7 had shown the universe something profound. Intelligence, courage, and adaptability were the ultimate powers. And in this new world, humans would continue to thrive, innovate, and triumph, always. The ocean whispered its endless song, the waves glimmered in response, and humanity stood triumphant, undaunted, unstoppable, and brilliant.